3 lifelong friends, 6 trusty balls, and endless NFL takes. Welcome to 3 Guys, 6 Balls NFL Podcast. Welcome to episode 46 of 3 Guys, 6 Balls NFL Podcast. I'm your host, Joel, and I'm here with my 2 usual co-hosts, Will and Avery. Just want to start this episode by saying congrats to the Rams, Seahawks, Broncos, and Patriots for making it to the conference championship games. I also want to start this episode by giving a couple shout outs. And I want to start by shouting out Avery for the creation of his new hit TV series, The Real Housewives of the Browns. That was the best post we've ever had on social media on YouTube. It got over 14,000 views, a whole bunch of comments. That is by far the best social media post we've ever had on any platform. So congrats to Avery for the creation of his new hit TV series.
Not even because it was a good take, but because a lot of people disagreed with it and said, like, that's a weak take. And like, still commented, bitch. Sorry,
Gotcha. I also want to give a shout out to everybody who's been engaging with our content on social media. We've seen a huge increase, not just on that post, but on all posts in general, with comments and shares, likes, everything, just all around engagement from everybody. So shout out to even the haters. We appreciate you guys too, because negative engagement is still engagement.
What about the Eagles fans?
We appreciate it. Screw them.
While we're in this moment here, I would like to take a second to apologize specifically to
Absolutely nobody.
No, specifically to Avery's dad and family and anybody else who's just overall against swearing. I dropped a hard F word last week. Fortunately, the Rams won, right? If I do that and then the Rams lose, boy, howdy, am I in for it. But hey, they won, so I still hate the Bears. Just, I'll dial it back. That's my bad. I don't need to be doing that out here.
Yeah, I don't know how you knew that, Will, but my last shout out was going to be to Avery's dad, Dwayne, because he sits here every week and he listens to our episode, watches our show, and he deals with these 2 guys swearing. And for anybody who's never listened to or watched this show, if you've ever heard us say, sorry, Dwayne, that's who they're talking to, is Avery's
That's my dad.
So shout out Dwayne.
And we love him so very much.
He's our number 1 fan. Unless someone else watches every minute of this show, then you are also our number 1 fan.
Hi, actually. I think Kirk, my coworker,
Kirko Chains?
Well, not quite. He, on his Spotify rap, was 0.001% of our top listeners. So, which means we have 1,000 listeners. That means we have 1,000 listeners, guys. That's cool beans, right? That's cool.
All right. Well, I'm excited for today's episode, guys, because we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about some of the recent divisional round games. We're going to recap some of those, talk about some controversial plays from those games. Then we're going to discuss where the teams that lost those games go from here. And then at the end, we're going to wrap up the episode by talking about the conference championship games. But before we do that, we're going to finish our fantasy ranking scores for the season. So we already did our quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. And right now, Will and Avery are tied with 19 points, and I'm in the lead with 25 points. Just to review the scoring, how this works is we all gave our top 10 or top 5 rankings before the season started, and we're comparing them to how the actual top 10 or top 5 rankings finished at the end of the fantasy season. You get a point if you had a guy ranked in the top 10, anywhere in the top 10. You get 2 points if you had that guy ranked at the exact position, and you get 2 points if you were the only one who had that player ranked in the top 10. So we're going to start with the kickers here, and the actual top 5 kickers go like this. So 1 is Jason Myers, 2 is Kaimi Fairbairn, 3 is Brandin Aubrey, 4 is Cameron Dicker, and 5 is Cam Little.
I'm sure I had Dicker in there. I don't remember these, but I know I had him in there.
All right. So Avery's top 5 kickers went like this. Number 1, Cam Little. Number 2, Cameron Dicker. You were correct. You did have him in there. Number 3 is Andy Borregales. Number 4, Matt Gay.
Yeah, solid season. Solid season, all right?
And number 5 was Harrison Butker.
Yes.
So Will's top 5 go like this. Number 1, Brandon Aubrey. Number 2, Jake Bates. Number 3, Jake Elliott. Number 4, Cameron Dicker. Number 5, Marcus Aurelius.
Oh, I missed that one. I remember that now. I was a little upset.
But the actual number 5 was Chase McLaughlin. And then my top 5 kickers went like this. Number 1, Brandon Aubrey. Number 2, Chris Boswell. Number 3, Cameron Dicker. Number 4, Chase McLaughlin. And number 5, Cam Little. So the points for this round, Avery got 2 points because he had Cam Little in the top 5 and he had Cameron Dicker in the top 5. Unfortunately, Matt Gay did not make the top 5 fantasy kickers.
Well,
and then
homophobia, man, that's what kept him out.
Fantasy football. He made the top 5 fantasy, that's for sure.
Different category.
But he made it. He made it. Rivalry category.
All right, and then Will got 3 points because he had Brandon Aubrey, Cameron Dicker at number 4. That does put you in second place. And then I got 4 points because I had Brandon Aubrey in the top 5, Cameron Dicker, and Cam Little at number 5. So I got 2 points for that. All right, so final round, fantasy defenses. So the actual top 5 goes Seahawks, Texans, Vikings, Jaguars, and Broncos. So Avery's top 5 were the Broncos, Eagles, Ravens, Vikings, and Lions. Will's were the Ravens, Broncos, Texans, Vikings, and Eagles. Mine were the Broncos, Vikings, Steelers, Ravens, and Texans. So Will and I tied with 3 points in this round, and Avery had 2 points. So the final scores, Avery had 23 points in last place.
Michael Jordan.
Will had 25 points in second place, and I had 32 points in first place.
The kickers betrayed me.
Yeah, that's what did
it. All right. So let's move on to talk about some of these divisional games that just happened. We'll recap these games. And within that, we'll give some thoughts on where these teams go next. The teams that lost, where these teams go next. So let's just, actually, before we start, I got asked a question because I know we're going to end up here anyway. So we might as well just start with this and combine it from 2 different games. Was the Brandin Cooks play a catch or an interception? And was the Devante Adams play a catch or an interception? Will, what do you think?
Ooh, you're starting with me. Okay, I think the Brandin Cooks play was a catch down by contact, and the Devante Adams play, they called correctly, catch down by contact. I think it should have been the same result in both plays. I actually think because of the Brandin Cooks play, we got the results we got in the Texans game. There was a catch there that they ripped the ball out, and then it fumbled, and I don't think they recovered it. I think maybe recovered it, fumbled about it, maybe the Patriots recovered. I don't remember who. And then as well, the Rams game with Devante Adams. I think that the NFL sent a memo, maybe the NFL Reffing Association sent a memo out to the 2 crews on the following games, maybe even the Seahawks game as well, although there wasn't a lot of controversy in that game, of hey, this was inaccurate. If something like this happens, you have to stop the game and actually review it. Don't expedite review that turnover. Actually review that kind of turnover. I think, I mean, Brandin Cooks gets 2 hands on the ball as he's going to the ground. He gets 2 feet down, again, as he's going to the ground in the process of making the catch. If that defender wasn't there, he makes the catch, right? It's not like the ground caused the ball to pop out, so we're not talking about surviving the ground here. He had 2 hands on the ball, body on the ground, and then the ball gets ripped out and ends up in the defender's hand. I think that was McLaughlin is the guy's name for Denver that got the ball there. I cannot believe that they expedited reviewed that. There was a turnover, so they had to review it, but they didn't. And even Sean McDermott in overtime called a timeout. Like, hey, you got to do something about it. You can't just move on here. You have to actually at least do the pomp and circumstance, make it look like you're reviewing it at minimum. So here's my take on that play. I think that crew doing that game. Now this is 75% satire, so let me go in with that. I think the crew doing that game, that was their last game of the season. I've already talked about this. The reffing contract is up after this season. They're about to go into collective bargaining, and the reffing association, the reffing union, is about to go into new negotiations with the NFL on their new deal. Okay. And so this is this crew's last game. They're not doing the Super Bowl, I would assume. And so this was their last game. The game is in overtime. They're like, no, we're into this thing. We are calling it done. Going the other way. Don't even care. We're not taking the time to review it. Pass interference, roughing the passer. Get him down the field. Get him in the end zone. We're not doing this game. I do believe that was the Bills' first possession, yeah? Or was it next score wins already at that point? I don't think it was next score wins at that point. I think the Broncos were going to get the ball anyway. And so it was let's get the Broncos the ball now, get them down the field as fast as we can, and let's get this game over with. We worked 4 quarters in our last game already. We're not working a 5th one. Let's get out of here. Now, that is mostly satire, but the fact that they didn't call a pass interference call until overtime, and then that turnover wins, I think it was I'm not big to complain about the refs having such a big effect on games, but there's no way for me to overlook this one that they did not take enough time to look at it, and I think because of it, we got a different call twice on Sunday. So I think it was a catch by Brandin Cooks and down by contact.
What do you think, Avery?
I think the refs got both of these right. I agree with Joe Burrow here. I will say that, like, because of the gravity of the call and the play, I would appreciate if the refs did give it more time to look at it and then come away with the correct thing. I feel like in general, when it comes down to that, I'm thinking kind of the same thing with like that Saints play from like, geez, now it's been like a decade, hasn't it? That blatant pass interference call, it didn't get called. Like, I think for these, it's like, look, it would give a lot of people more peace of mind if you just did look at it. I didn't like that they just kind of rushed it, and the coach is just kind of like just looking around like, dude, or is that it? However, I feel like there's this. I mean, wasn't it I could be totally wrong here. Dez Bryant's catch against the Packers again a decade ago, where it was this thing where it's like, hey, there's this element of like you have to kind of maintain control. However, with this, it's like, okay, he had it in his hands, but the defender had his hands on it too. And the way I was taught was like, when that ball's in the air, like, it's anybody's ball. Like, anyone can come away with it. Now, granted, if the defender's not looking at the ball and clawing at the receiver, obviously that's something different. But when you both go down and you each have 2 hands on it, and then you roll over and one guy comes away with it, that to me, like, because it's all within a half a second, I'm like, okay, well, he got the ball. Like, so to me, I see that and I'm like, no, that wasn't enough time to go down. If it's something where it's like, it's the same thing of going out of bounds. If I catch the ball as I'm going out of bounds, it's like, oh, did he like continue to have possession of it? But because really it's like, as soon as, again, that was the Dez thing, was like he got it and then let go. I think Calvin Johnson did the same thing where it was like, hey, dude, I'm a receiver. I catch balls. How much longer does this need to be in my hands before you can recognize that I did, in fact, catch this? But when I see that, I'm like, hey, you had it in your hands, but so did the defender. And then after you hit the ground, the defender came up with it. I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, like, you both had possession of it. You both had your hands on it. The defender's knee also touched the ground. Was that a catch? Was that an interception for him when he touched the ground? So when I see that, I kind of feel like if after you've gone out of bounds, you still have to hold on to it. I'm like, okay, if it's a jump ball and you all grab onto the ball, at that point, it's like, who comes away with it? It's the same with a fumble. Like a fumble, the ball's rolling around. It doesn't matter if a guy gets it and his knee's on the ground. If that ball slides back out, even if he had possession for a split second, it's still a fumble. It's like 10 seconds after the fumble is recovered that the refs get in there and see who has it. So that's how I see it. I genuinely feel like it was heartbreaking, and I didn't like that they just glossed over it. But I do think that the refs got both of those calls right. And the boot tastes great. The boot tastes great, by the way. Someone will get that.
I did not. Anyway,
bootlicker, whatever.
The only thing I'd like to interject there, Avery, is that in the rules, in the actual rule book, it says joint possession sticks with whoever had possession. And so if receiver, so like in baseball ties.
So it wasn't joint possession then. That doesn't make any sense.
Right. So
Joint possession is whoever had it first. It's like, so it wasn't joint.
no, whoever was
No,
possessing the
not
ball
whoever had it
first.
first.
Whoever team was possessing
If
the
it's
ball
a
first.
tie,
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
in
if it's a
baseball,
tie, it
goes
goes
to the
to the
runner.
passing team.
Yeah, tie goes to the runner.
Okay, but it wasn't a
baseball.
tie either.
Well, when it was,
Yeah.
Brandin
you
Cooks
just said
had
it
it
was a tie.
first.
They both had possession at the same time, and they both were down by contact. You just said that. Your words. Your words were both.
No, I
and
know. I
receiver
understand what you're saying. I
had
understand what you're saying.
possession, and
But
both were down on the ground.
but I mean, it's the same thing. If you catch the ball, you have possession, you get 2 feet down, you have possession, and you're in bounds, and then you fall out of bounds and drop the ball. It's the same deal. It's like, well, he had possession. It's like, yeah, but you didn't control it. You didn't control it.
Right, but
And
when you're down,
if
the
that's
play
it,
is
then that's
over.
like you never had control of it because he came away with it.
This is different than surviving the round because the ground did not cause the ball to come out. He was on his way down, but the being on the ground did not make the ball come loose. He was 2 hands on the ball, 2 feet down in bounds in the middle of the field, body on the ground, down by contact, and then the defender gained full possession of that ball.
Let me think. Let me humor me for a sec. Let's say that the defender was never there.
Yep.
But everything else happened the same way. The ball came in, he caught it, goes to the ball, and where the ball went, it went. Would that have been a catch?
Okay, so if
Remove the defender from the picture.
Right.
Is that a completion, incompletion, or a fumble?
So in this, he's going down to the ground,
Hypothetical.
rolls over, and the ball comes out.
Yeah, everything is the exact same,
Except
even with the ball like
defender,
kind of floating away.
Great, incomplete pass.
Okay, so he never had completion then, right?
I disagree.
You take away the defender, it wasn't a complete pass.
Well, if you take away the defender, the ball doesn't get ripped out of his hands.
But what I'm saying is, if he wasn't there and the ball still got ripped away at the same time, it's an incomplete pass. So if it's an incomplete pass without the defender there, how on earth is it a completed pass with the defender there?
Because without the defender there, that ball doesn't come out of his hands. So in your hypothetical, that would be incomplete. But in reality, where they both had, we'll call it they both had possession, and both were down by contact right there, tie goes to the offense.
But that's what I'm saying. He would have been down by. He wouldn't have been down though. I mean,
he would have been.
I mean,
I
guess
both bodies were on the ground. He would have been down. Both of them were down.
No, what I'm saying is if the defender isn't there, but everything else happens the same. So basically, in the same time it took for the defender to rip the ball out, he just he let go of the ball. And I guess we could even go with college rules or whatever, because you technically have to be down by contact. So the defender there, it's technically just still a live ball, I guess, whatever. But what I'm saying is
so
that wasn't enough time for him to be on the ground and maintain possession.
Hands on the ball, 2 feet down, hits the ground, rolls over on his back, and then lets go of the ball.
Yeah.
I'm calling that a catch.
But
I'm not just going back on what I just said, which I guess I technically am. But I think given the scenario where he rolls over on his back and then the ball just magically flies out of his hands with 2 hands.
I mean, it's we're talking about a half a second here.
Right.
Right? Because I mean, at that point, if he was going out of bounds, if it was there and then he touches out of bounds and he lets go, they're like, he didn't maintain control.
The main difference in these two is what you're talking about is surviving the ground. That's not what I'm talking about, because that's not the argument here. The ball was ripped out of his hands by another human, by another person.
I know. But what I'm saying is it wasn't a strip, but it wasn't like a strip fumble.
It wasn't was. It is.
There wasn't enough time for it to be. He didn't have any time to make any football move.
It is essentially the same thing, though, because both guys had their hands on the ball. Both guys were down, and then the Bronco player jumped up with the ball. Okay, turnover.
But so I know. That's what I'm saying is like if he was down there, but let go. But if the defender wasn't there, the ball comes out and it's not a catch.
It's just a completely different scenario, because you're talking about surviving the ground versus who had possession.
I know, but what I'm saying is even but if you did survive the ground, I mean, you don't have enough time. If you have it and you let go, it's like, oh, he didn't survive the ground. It's like, yeah, because he didn't maintain it for long enough. That's the reason. Because if he did and then let go of it or whatever, then it'd be like a fumble. All I'm saying is that if the defender wasn't there and he maintained his hands on the ball for the exact same amount of time, it would have been an incomplete pass. Like, he didn't have it for long enough. Devante Adams, I feel like, had it for long enough where it was like, if you let go, then it would have been a fumble. That's my perspective, though. But I'm also not a ref. I'm just going off vibes, and you guys know that.
Well, I would like to make the argument here that both plays were interceptions or turnovers, however you want to call it. And the
All right, well,
reason
let's
why
get him. Let's get him.
I'm basing this off of how the NFL has called other games that I've seen during this regular season.
Well,
And that's what I'm basing it off
you
of.
can't base anything off other games.
But I'm also going to base it off of what the rules say. So take the Devante Adams play. Okay. So he catches the ball, he goes down and has possession, and his knee hits the ground while he's being tackled, and then the guy rips it out, right? So here I'm going to read you the rules. I printed off this page. I'm going to read you the exact wording in the rules for a completed pass. A player who makes a catch may advance the ball. A forward pass is complete by the offense or intercepted by the defense in the field of play, at the sideline, or in the end zone if a player who is inbounds A, secures control of the ball in his hands or arms prior to the ball touching the ground, and B, touches the ground inbounds with both feet or with any part of his body other than his hands, which Devante Adams did. But there's a C, and after A and B have been fulfilled, clearly performs any act common to the game. Example, extend the ball forward, take an additional step, tuck the ball away and turn upfield, or avoid or ward off an opponent, or he maintains control of the ball long enough to do so. So the only way that this could have been a completed pass by Devante Adams is if they deemed that he did an act common to the game. But what was that act?
Well,
Getting tackled?
That's getting tackled. Yeah, that's the most common thing in the game.
So then if that is the case, I would like to go back to the Bucks and Rams game where tight end Cade Otton for the Bucks juggled a pass, caught the ball, had possession of it, and a Rams defender ripped the ball out of his hands while his knee was on the ground. If getting tackled is having an act common to the game, Cade Otton was down in that game, but they called it a pick six. So based off of how that game was called, that Devante Adams play was also an interception. It was not a completed pass.
I mean, getting tackled isn't actually an act common to the game. That's not what
I know, but that's what
okay.
I'm saying is if there's no other act common to the game that Devante Adams completed, he had A and B in this scenario, but he did not have C, unless you count getting tackled. He did nothing else except for catch the ball and go down. He did no act common to the game. So how is that a completed pass? Based off of these rules, how is that a completed pass?
I don't remember
I will
the
say-
specific play, unfortunately.
Yeah, I need to read like that. I will say, though, I think the one thing we can all agree on is that there are massive inconsistencies in the way that these games and catches are officiated. I think that
Yes.
individual plays we can look at, be like, I think this, I think that. The problem is we don't have a solid standard. We don't have a
Exactly.
gold standard we can look at. And so I think the real issue here is that there is an issue and it needs to be solved. And the only people that can solve it is the NFL. Because otherwise you're going to get more of this. Everything is rigged. They're playing favorites when really I'm like, dude, I think these guys are trying the best they can. And I think they have a work culture that is not that transparent. And I don't think the rules are very great. And I think that there are dirty incentives for how they decide to officiate games because it is still just like college and NFL. There are tiers to this and you get graded. And I think there's a little bit of politics that we may not know, but Will might have some insight. I know he's not an NFL ref, but he might know more about like how these refs move up and what decides their pay and their position. I don't know if you. I just put that
Right.
out there.
No, sure. I know that all I can speak for is the high school level and the association I ref with specifically. I know we get regularly film reviewed by our training staff on the ref in our association, and we get grades based on our games. And there's a mid-season review where our body of work gets reviewed and we get put into levels. We're able to do so in Oregon, they've got 6 classifications of football, 1A through 6A. And in Oregon, 1A football is either 6-man or 8-man football. 2A football is 9-man football. You don't get to 11-man football until you get to 3A, 4A, 5A, and 6A. And 6A is the biggest. That's like the Portland schools, the Salem schools, Eugene school. Actually, not even all Eugene schools. Most Eugene schools are 6A. And so the better the referee you are, the higher quality classification of game you get. And just because it's a 6A game doesn't mean it's a better game than like a 3A or a 2A game. It depends on like the teams that are playing, because you could have the top two teams in state playing a 3A game, or you could assign to like some of the bottom teams in 6A. And so we do regularly get graded on our body of work, and we have to maintain a high standard of rule knowledge and enforcement on the field to be able to get better games. I think that's exactly why we saw the Big 12 referees in the national championship last night, and there's the same ones that did the other college football playoffs, because their body of work throughout the playoffs, throughout the regular season, have been of standard high enough to officiate that game. They let the boys play last night at the college football national championship until a couple of questionable calls, and even so much where Kirk Cinetti was like, "Yeah, let's get something done here." I think the same. It's the same all the way up. The problem is that the union, the referees, and the NFL have is so locked tight. They're not, from what I hear, I don't know this firsthand, but from what I hear from podcasts and things like that, is that the NFL is not allowed to talk to the Referees Association until it's like so preseason's in August. I think it's like July. It's like from February to July, you don't get to talk to us. We don't have to do any training. We're not doing any off-season stuff. We're doing our own thing. We have our own other jobs. They're not even full-time employees. The NFL needs to absorb, I guess, in my opinion, the NFL needs to absorb the referees union into the NFL, make these guys full-time employees. When it's off-season time, you're involved in rule changes. You're involved in the winter meetings where the coaches are making rule changes. You're able to give, and maybe not all the referees, but you're able to give opinions. Maybe like the head refs, like the regular white hats we see, the hockey league, the hussy, the regular ones, them.
Yep.
Regular are able to be in those meetings and give opinion. Well, if we make this rule change, this is a possible negative effect, or this is a positive effect. And I can't say that doesn't happen. It's possible there is someone from the Refereeing Association, the Refereeing Union in those meetings, but I truly would not think so. The NFL needs to bring them in, get them trained up better. I think you have a better stable of referees. And then I think, just like players, just like coaches, just like teams, just like owners, if a referee makes a bad call or makes a showboaty move or tries to make the game about them, they get suspended, they get fined, they get penalized, they get financially penalized for their wrongdoing. Like, for instance, you brought up the Rams Saints NFC Championship game. The side judge that's staring right at that didn't make that call, that dude legitimately should have just gotten fired from being a referee forever. You are no longer allowed to officiate in
No call I've ever seen.
Yes, there are referees who will keep the flag in their pocket and just for no reason. You see it happen. At least it looks like you see it happen, and I can tell firsthand. Sometimes watching it on film, it looks like you're looking right at it, when really you're looking through it, and so you're too close to see it. I've had that happen where people are like, "How did you not see this happen right in front of you?" I'll say, "Well, actually, this is what I understand where it looks like my hat's pointed. This is what I was actually looking at." And it's like, okay, well, I guess. But when you're at that level, you have to be able to see the entire section you're supposed to be looking at. Because there's a reason there's 8 referees out there. There's 8 referees for 22 players. Your job is not to watch all 22 at the same time. You're only supposed to be watching your section, your keys, your people. So yeah, I do believe they do get graded and they do get judged, but I think they need to be brought into the actual NFL union umbrella with the Players Association and everything like that, and held to a higher standard.
I agree. All right. Do you guys have anything else to add on that before we move on?
I liked that Avery and I were, actually, all 3 of us were on different sides there. And we all had the same conclusion. They should have taken more time to review these plays. All of them. Every single one of them, they should have taken more time to review them.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right. So let's go through the games individually, and then we'll talk about what the eliminated team from those games, like where they go from here. So, Will, let's start with you. If you have any thoughts on the Bills and Broncos, give us some thoughts on that game specifically, and then let us know, where do the Buffalo Bills go from here?
I kind of shared it. My only real thought is that I don't like that the referees decided to put the flag in their pocket until the very end. I shared a screenshot in our text chat. The penalty difference between these two was a bit egregious to me. And they didn't call a single pass interference call until overtime, and it was only against the Bills. I do think the Bills got screwed a bit here, but at the same time, the Bills had 5 turnovers, and Josh Allen had 4 of them. You can't expect to win a game like that. That's just not going to happen. You have to play better. I think the Bills get the right coach in there. I think they need to draft a wide receiver, a quality wide receiver this year. Quit trying the Patriot model where you have no wide receivers and you just kind of make it work. You're not Tom Brady, and you got to quit relying so much on Josh Allen to do everything for you. You got to quit doing that.
That's exactly what I wrote down. What I wrote down is stop expecting Josh Allen to save you.
Make it a team game. And also, Josh Allen, quit trying to do everything. You have 10 other players on the field. It's okay. They can help. So I don't think they changed too much. You get the right coach in there. It's too bad that Harbaugh is already hired by the Giants. I think Harbaugh in Buffalo would have been pretty good, but we'll see.
Avery, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Josh Allen had a bad game. I mean, he did literally have a bad game. It can happen whenever. I think the Broncos, I mean, credit to them. The big thing, and this goes to what Will was saying, but I mean this generally. I'm not a big fan of when we point out how many flags got put on one team versus another. It would be one thing if we're like, this team had like 5 calls that I could look directly at and be like, that was a missed call. Or like they messed that up and there were way more, fudged calls on this team versus that team. But like in general, I mean, and this is going back to yesterday, the Miami and Indiana game. I watched the whole thing, and there was a part where they said, Miami gets the 10th most penalties out of any team. And they said Indiana gets the 10th least amount of penalties out of any team in college. And it played out that way, where you see it and you see these frustrations. And yeah, I'm sure as a Miami fan, you're getting frustrated, but it's also like, okay, but you are committing these penalties. I'm sorry that Indiana isn't matching your, lack of discipline here. But for the most part, I'm not a big fan of, and I don't know the solution to this, but I really, really don't like it's not the punt throw. It's just when you throw it up there trying to get a flag. I don't like that at all. And I really don't know how you would stop that. Like maybe it's something where the refs have to be like, look, it's got to be a clear cut. Like we're going to be strict on this. If it's 4th down and you throw it up there, or if it's 3rd down and you're just trying to draw a flag. Yeah, like we're not just going to be passing those out like candy, I don't like that at all. I mean, even if it's a team I'm rooting for, seeing that, I'm like, okay, I wanted to actually beat you guys, not get bailed out by the refs, and now have to hear the opposing fans say, oh, well, you paid the refs. Like, it's not fun for anybody. It's the same as a friggin' tie. No one wants to see that crap. Don't do it. Get rid of that. More than these pass interference calls, more than these catches and receptions, get rid of ties. Abolish ties. It's the last remnant of communism left in this country, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. And I'm glad that it's a miracle that they don't allow ties in the playoffs. I'm almost surprised. Like, well, you guys can be co-champions. We can be co-managers. Anyway, I had to get that out of my system. It didn't happen recently, but again, it's pervasive.
All right. So for me, I already shared what I wrote down. I said for the Bills, stop expecting Josh Allen to save you. Josh Allen has continuously brought the Bills out of holes that they wouldn't have been able to come out of without him, but they need to surround Josh Allen with players who can do the same thing because he is the only one on that team who can bring that team out of a hole. You need to stop giving Josh Allen Khalil Shakir as his number 1 receiving option. He's a good player, but let's be real about what he isn't. He's not Jamar Chase. He's not Justin Jefferson. He's not that type of receiver. When that's your best receiver. Exactly. What do you expect Josh Allen to do? Of course he's going to have to try and do some stuff where he's going to make some stupid mistakes because he has to. He doesn't have a choice. You don't have a game wrecker on defense. You don't have a Myles Garrett. You don't have a Will Anderson type of player on defense. It's just Josh Allen. Stop expecting him to save you and build the team so that he doesn't have to save you every single time. The name of the team is not the Josh Allens. It's the Buffalo Bills. Stop expecting Josh Allen to save you and actually build this team so that Josh Allen doesn't have to do everything. And also another thing I want to say that I would like to get your guys' opinion on after I say it. I've been seeing a lot of things on social media about people defining what Josh Allen's legacy is after this game, after another playoff loss. And to me, it's for anyone questioning Josh Allen's legacy, for anyone trying to define Josh Allen's legacy, stop. Just stop. Josh Allen is 29 years old. You can say what he
That's it.
has or hasn't done to this point in his career, but as far as legacy goes, his story is not over. You can't say that Josh Allen's legacy is this or it's that, because a legacy is what you leave behind. It's how you'll be remembered. And I want to give 3 examples of other quarterbacks to show you why you can't define their legacy until their story is complete. Matthew Stafford played for the Lions for 12 seasons, made the playoffs 3 times, went 0-3 in those games. He had a regular season record of 74-90 before going to the Rams. Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl at 34 years old. Drew Brees, prior to winning the Super Bowl with the Saints, he had been a starter for 7 years, made the playoffs twice, and went 1-2 in those playoff games. He had a regular season of 55-51, so barely over 500. He did not win the Super Bowl until he was 31 years old. And then finally, John Elway. He didn't win the Super Bowl until he was 37 years old. He had been to the Super Bowl 3 times, lost all 3 prior to winning 2 straight Super Bowls when he was 37 and 38. Right now, Josh Allen's legacy is being built, but it cannot be defined until his career is over. If we get to the point where Josh Allen retires and he doesn't win a Super Bowl, then come talk to me. But until then, just stop.
Yeah, I'm. This no one's gonna like this take, but it's hard for me to get behind, like, unless you've genuinely proven yourself. What I'm talking about is like quarterbacks that are based purely on success. And I look at some quarterbacks that have had just bad teams, like, I mean, even Matt Stafford and, Calvin Johnson at the Lions. It's like, at least people have overcome, like Calvin Johnson, despite playing on the Lions, someone's like, oh, well, he didn't win, any Super Bowls. Like, dude was undeniable. He was great. The thing is with quarterbacks is they are judged based on wins. And you look at this, and they're making the playoffs every year. They're a deep running team. They are a scary team every single year, and they come up short. This time, I would say, like, yeah, the turnovers were, pretty rough. But also, it's like that in a year, we're gonna move past that. If he wins a Super Bowl next year, no one's gonna care. I mean, you look at Tom Brady. It's like the fact that you won at Tampa Bay and Belichick didn't, because at the time, the sports world was a little divided on, was this Tom Brady or was this Bill Belichick? And then we all figured it out. But I just feel like it is, to Joel's credit, it's still very early. We haven't seen it yet. But even then, the Bills that won 4 straight AFC championships, it's like, dude, okay, you're the second best team 4 years in a row. I guess you can look at it as you lost the Super Bowl 4 years in a row if you want, but no one else has had that much success in that span of time. In those 4 years, no team collectively was better than the Buffalo Bills. Maybe the Cowboys in that time. But yeah, I look at it as far as like their individual body of work compared to what they were going up against. If you want to look at like winning, it's like, then give them the keys to the kingdom. Let them draft the players. Let them choose their coach. If that's how we're going to judge these players, by how many championships they have, how they perform in the postseason, like, give them the keys to the kingdom. Otherwise, it's like, dude, they are an employee. Like, this is the coach. This is the owners. This is the entire organization. Like, to pin it on that is infantile at best. Anyway, go ahead, Will.
Excuse me. I'd like to add 2 things onto here. Going off what Avery said, the GM is responsible for building the roster, right? I think we can all agree with that. Brandin Bean, GM for the Buffalo Bills, just got promoted. He is GM. Have you not heard this, Avery? This is new news. He is GM
I have not heard
and
this.
Director of Player Personnel. I think is what his player operations, player personnel. He got an additional job. He got a new Sean McDermott coaching your butt off out here, fired. Brandin Bean can't build a roster. You know what? We like what you're doing. Let's give you a promotion here. Your job and another job. We like how much you're doing. Do more of it, please. So there's that. Additionally, there are 18 regular season games, not counting preseason, but let's just say Josh Allen didn't play in preseason. I don't know if that's true or not. It's not worth looking up. So let's say 18 regular season games,
18 weeks,
17 games.
17 games.
17 games, and then 2 postseason games. So Josh Allen played 19 games of football this year. I don't think he missed any this year, did he?
No.
No. So he was
in the last game of the season, he played 1 snap so he could get the streak.
okay.
And then Trubisky went off.
Yeah, he did. He did. So, okay. So
forgotten performance.
Josh Allen played 18 games of football where he was doing everything for the entire team. It's no wonder he had one bad game, and it just happened to be the one that mattered the most. Like, he put his body on the line, a la Fernando Mendoza last night, diving on that 4th down.
Dude,
that was
guy
crazy.
is a baller.
Josh Allen's doing that in week 1 of the NFL season because he's got no one on his team to rely on. He's just out here trying to get a point, let alone 19, 20 weeks later, I guess we'll try to win a divisional round. Additionally, with that, here's a good transition for you, Joe. Moving to the second game on Saturday, Seahawks 49ers, same thing. You've got one player on that team now, Christian McCaffrey, who has done everything for you all season long, and then he did not play every game this season. I know that for sure. Actually, I don't know that for sure. Did he play every game this season? Who cares?
Pretty sure he did.
You're right. This might be the first season in years that he's played every game this season. In that game, he had 11 carries for 35 yards. His body was broken down. He just could not handle. He couldn't handle 20 games, 19 games of just ride my back. The entire team, get on my back. I guess we're going. Eventually, your legs give out. Brock Purdy had more rushing yards than Christian McCaffrey in that game.
Yeah, I agree. I wrote down the same thing for the 49ers as well. I actually wrote down 2 things, but that was one of them, was build an offense where you don't have to be so reliant on Christian McCaffrey because he was your leading rusher and your leading receiver.
You can take the name out of it. Build an offense that doesn't rely heavily on just one person. Whether it's Josh Allen or Christian McCaffrey, it doesn't matter.
Right. But in this situation, it's Christian McCaffrey.
Sure.
And so the 49ers specifically have to build an offense that's not so reliant on Christian McCaffrey because he had 924 receiving yards, which was leading the team. Their next leading receiver had 643. Christian McCaffrey was the leading receiver by 281 yards. You have to have more reliable guys to take the load off of Christian McCaffrey because what happens when Christian McCaffrey gets hurt again? What happens when he's not there for 8 games or 10 games or however many games it is? And 49ers fans will say, well, we have George Kittle and we have Ricky Pearsall. Great. Kittle missed 6 regular season games. Pearsall missed 8. So how are you going to rely on those guys when they're not there?
Well, and then
you can't.
We saw how it happened because in the divisional game, George Kittle out again. They didn't score a touchdown.
Exactly.
Did not score a touchdown.
Exactly.
In the last 2 games against Seattle, the Niners only scored 9 total points. 8 quarters of football.
And I'll share my other thing that I wrote down for the 49ers, and then Avery, you can give us some thoughts on this real quick. But I think the 49ers need to get better secondary pass rushers because they had the least amount of sacks in the league this year with 20 in the regular season. And 49ers fans will use the excuse that Nick Bosa wasn't there and he was hurt most of the year, which I get. I get that. But it's not an excuse for not having anyone else who can effectively rush the passer. The leading sack guy for the 49ers this year had 4 sacks. If you take a team like the Broncos, who had 68 sacks as a team this year, which led the league, and let's just say Nick Bonito gets hurt, who had 14 sacks, that team goes from elite at rushing the passer to really good at rushing the passer. If you take away his 14 sacks, they go from 68 to 54, and 54 still would have been second in the league in sacks. So aside from Bonito, the Broncos had 3 guys with 7 or more sacks, another 4 guys with 4 sacks, and another 9 guys who had at least some sort of stat in the sack column. You have to get better secondary pass rushers if you're the 49ers because you cannot just rely on Nick Bosa on defense, just like you rely on Christian McCaffrey on offense.
No, I kind of see as much as I do not like the 49ers fans, I don't mind the 49ers as much, but I see this as like, dude, your guys' entire team has been decimated. And here you are playing Seattle in the playoffs. As far as I'm concerned, I'm like, okay, I mean, it's a little bit of like that Buffalo Bills, 4-time losers kind of situation where it's like, oh, here we are talking about the 49ers. It's like, yeah, because they're relevant, because they made the playoffs. Like the Bucks. I mean, dude, there was a point in time when they were like, the Bucks are the best team in NFL right now. Baker Mayfield is looking like an MVP. It's such a distant memory now that I see this like, dude, I see that as like a testament to the coaching in these players. It's like with what they were able to do with what they had left. I'm like, I understand it's like maybe that is a glaring thing where it's like, hey, you guys either really need to focus on getting depth or you need to fire whoever is your strength and conditioning and your team doctor because they are sabotaging you. It's like a very, very suspicious amount of injuries. I think if anything, it's like, okay, you could say like, oh, injuries are just part of it. It's like maybe. LeBron spends over $1 million a year on his health, and he's playing like every game. I mean, now there's load management and stuff. I'm like, dude's gonna be playing 23 seasons. So it's like clearly there is something. He's not a full contact sport. I mean, it is contact, but not as much as the NFL. But still, I feel like there is something that can be done. This is the highest level of football. It is the biggest sport in America. There has to be something that you can do for your team and for your players to keep them healthy. I don't know what it is. That's your job. But having this many injuries and not enough depth, like that's on you guys. That's on you. If you drafted these players, like, well, they're a little injury prone. It's like that's on you. I just see this as like I'm not gonna look at the 49ers and say like, man, you guys like really, shat the bed. Not really a cuss, so I'm not sorry. But it's something that like you have to get on these injuries. You have to figure that out because if that keeps happening and it's not happening to other teams to the clip that it's to the degree it's happening to you, there's something wrong and you need to evaluate that.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a John Lynch jersey hanging right here beside me. Buccaneers Super Bowl jersey, signed, autographed. Shout out my parents for buying that, and shout out me for taking it from them.
Take what you want.
He is the GM of the 49ers currently and has been for a while. I think this comes down to him again. We just talked about Brandin Beane in Buffalo. It's the same thing with John Lynch. You have to build depth. You can't. Brandon Ayuk's had out the whole season, and all we heard from 49ers fans about that was them pouting. It was, Ayuk's not playing. Blah, blah, blah. Get over it, okay? Dude doesn't want to play for you. He's choosing to sit out. He's choosing to not talk to your team. Move on. Next. Who's next guy up? Build more depth. And yes, that's an incredibly easy thing to say, an incredibly hard thing to do. But as Joel said, you have got to get people in your second and third string who are able to step up and do the thing they need to do. And that comes from building the right roster and from coaching. And now you don't have Bob Saleh, Robert Saleh anymore. Good luck, because I think he was instrumental into the team making to the divisional round. His defense tried their best to win you a championship with a bunch of nobodies. I mean, almost a bag of rocks out there doing their darndest. But yeah, good luck for the Niners. They're in a soft rebuild. It's not a full rebuild. It's definitely a soft rebuild where they're going to have to bring in a bunch of depth because they've consistently, it wasn't the running backs this year. It has been their running backs in the past, but they're in a constant cycle of our team's going to get decimated. Just what position is it going to be in? This year, it just happened to be your entire defense. It's because they're too close to that substation. That's what it is.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Texans and Patriots. And we'll kind of do these ones a little bit quicker because we're getting a little bit low on time here.
My bad.
And I want to make sure we get on No, we've had some good conversation. So I love it. I love what we've talked about so far. But I'll start on this one. The Texans, I don't really have any thoughts on the game, but aside from the fact that CJ Stroud threw away the game, literally. 4 interceptions in that game. Your defense gave you a lot of chances to come back in that game. Will Anderson, I saw him make play after play after play. And CJ Stroud just threw the chances away every single time. The Texans have been in the same spot for the last 3 years where they win a playoff game and then they make it to the divisional round and then they lose. So where do the Texans go from here? I think that they have to stop relying on their defense to save them. Much like the Bills, they have to stop relying on Josh Allen to save them every time. The Texans have to stop relying on their defense to save them every time. CJ Stroud has been extremely average since his rookie season. He's had some nice moments, like winning a playoff game every year, but he's also had some really, really bad moments, like throwing 4 interceptions in a divisional round playoff game, where he looks awful. Last year, the excuse was, well, his offensive line sucks. They gave up 54 sacks. But this year, they only give up 31. So what's the excuse now? Their team relied too much on the defense, and not enough on the offense, and the offense did not contribute near enough for this team to be true contenders. If they want to be true contenders, they have to build this offense because the NFL changes very quickly from year to year. I don't know how long you're going to have this level of a defense. Will you still have a good defense as long as you have Will Anderson and those type of guys? Sure. Is it going to be elite like it is right now? I don't know how long it's going to be at that level for. So you have to get your offense to not the same level, but at least to a capable level where this team can truly be contenders. And I think it's going to be tempting for the Texans in the draft to go, well, how did we win games? We won with defense. So why not make our defense even better, right? You can't do that. If you're the Texans, you cannot do that because this offense is the reason that your team is being held back. Your defense is elite. Your offense is not even close to that. So you have to build the offense.
With the exception of the game where they wore those sick red uniforms, which I only watched about 10 minutes of, that was the first game I had seen CJ Stroud, and I was so lost. I didn't know. I thought this guy was supposed to be good. I thought they blew out the Steelers. I mean, granted, it was snowing in Foxborough, so like maybe that had something to do with it, but that was. Dude, he looked like Jameis Winston in the college football playoff against Oregon. That's a deep cut, but
Oh,
anyone knows.
yeah.
You've probably
Yeah.
seen one of the clips where it was like, whoa, like this guy looks like he's on a little bit of shrooms right now. Like he is just like he looked lost. He looked lost the whole game. And I think that's like the biggest thing is it's like, you can make a mistake, but the camera's going to be continually cutting to you, and whether it's fair or not, fans draw conclusions from that. And they can kind of see, okay, how are you handling this? You can read a person, especially when they're in a very, very high stress situation. And I don't think he handled it very well. I mean, he's kind of got this kind of lost puppy dog look. And granted, I haven't seen much of him from before, but that was a lot to take in, especially in a playoff game where it's like, okay, I could understand if you tried your hardest, but the Patriots just barely, edged you out. And I going back to the college football playoff, I thought Miami did great. I'm like, hey, dude, they crushed everyone this season, and you guys took them down to the line. If it wasn't for that pick, like you guys could have won that game. And I see that as like, Carson Beck, oh, typical Carson Beck, like, bitch, sorry, Dad. Carson Beck took them to the national championship. Like they lost some games early on, or no, it was that was Notre Dame. I can't remember. Anyway, they lost 2 games. They make it all the way there. They beat Ohio State to get there. So I see this as like, okay, look, he did get there, but losing in such an embarrassing fashion is just bad. And that is the last taste that is going to be left in everyone's mouth for the next 8 months. And so now you have a lot of fans losing confidence, and they're kind of in that similar position as the Bills where it's like, okay, we're slightly better than mediocre. We're making it to the playoffs, but like for what? To just lose a few spots in the draft? Like there's nothing to hang our hat on this. So I don't really know, but Stroud's got to figure some stuff out.
Yeah. Well, why don't you give us some thoughts on this game and the Texans real quick, and then just transition right into the Chicago Bears?
Happily. I think the Texans, so I don't really have many thoughts on the game like you guys. I mean, I don't need to beat the dead horse here. Do better. I think it starts by getting rid of your OC. You have a head coach who's Nick Cayley is his name. You have a head coach who's a long-term defensive player in the league. You had a good DC. You've got a great defense. You need an aggressive offensive coordinator who's going to stand up to your defensive head coach and your defensive coordinator and be like, listen, there's a whole other side of this game that we have to pay attention to as well, because DeMeco Ryans, not that he can't, but as head coach, he's for sure focusing more on defense. So you need to bring in, I don't even know who. Oh, I mean, pick a college head coach that you like that's good on offense, and bring him in for an OC. Get somebody strong in there who's going to make his opinion heard and his way with it heard. You have
You talking about a coach?
Yeah, I'm talking about their offensive coordinator. They need to
You
get rid
say
of him.
bring someone in that's good,
Yes.
someone that can
Yes.
win.
I don't.
Just say Signetti. Don't
No,
say someone.
Signetti's
There's
No,
only
he's
not
talking.
one.
leaving
He's
the
talking about an
Texans.
OC. He's talking
Signetti's
about an
not
OC.
leaving the.
Oh, because it's beneath him. Got it.
Yes, exactly. I do truly mean that. Joining
Yeah.
the NFL as an OC is beneath Signetti at this point.
Yeah.
No,
It
no,
is. It is.
I
Being a
mean,
head
like,
coach is beneath him.
I
I
mean,
feel like at
like,
this point, I'm like, dude is.
I mean,
All
like a
right, go ahead,
Lincoln
go ahead, go
Riley or like someone like that. Someone like who's good.
A Mario Cristobal.
No, I wouldn't bring him as
That's
an
around.
OC.
That's around where he should be.
I wouldn't bring him as an OC.
Linebacker coach,
Offensive line.
general assistant.
Not the point. Get somebody in there who's willing to play to CJ Stroud's style. Because you've got the Rams old OC or somebody from the Rams offensive staff in there now, and he's playing. It seems as if he's expecting Matthew Stafford, and he doesn't have that. He's got CJ Stroud. So get somebody else in there that's going to do better for your team. With that, Rams Bears. Oh boy, howdy. Let me start with I hate a 3:30 kickoff. I was stressed the entire day until kickoff. And 3:30 my time. I couldn't imagine if I was on the East Coast. It doesn't kick off till 6:30 p.m. That's miserable. I was useless at my house. Man, what do the Bears do now? I don't think the Bears do a gall darn thing. You don't change a thing. Hats off to the Chicago Bears, possibly the Indiana Bears here soon. We don't know yet. But hats off to them for getting there in year one of Ben Johnson. They are, I've heard it 100 times, they are ahead of schedule. And another year under the same thing, same coaching staff, same play style, same coaching style. They are going to be incredibly dangerous next year as well. Get Caleb Williams to stop making dumb decisions. But I mean, that can be said about so many people. Get him to stop making. Okay, 9 times out of 10, 4th and 4 from the 14-yard line. You throw a ball 52 yards in the air, that should be intercepted 9 times out of 10.
Nuts.
This 10th time, there was offensive pass interference, didn't call, not going to dwell on it. Great catch by Cole Kmet. First catch of the game. Just, all right, I guess I'll just take this one. Just outstanding play to tie the ball game up. Caleb Williams can do it. You just got to kind of wrangle him in some more. And I think that Bears team, I know I've talked a lot of crap about this Bears team.
This means a lot. This is big. For anyone watching who hasn't seen a lot more, keep an eye on what we're saying right there, because this is insane. This isn't. If you showed him this clip 6 months ago, he'd say that's AI. That's not real. That's fake. Fake news.
No, man, I truly mean it. I mean, Ben Johnson, I was so skeptical. I was probably the number one skeptic the entire season. No, come on. Coach can't be that big a deal. It is. It's that big a deal. I don't think they change a dang thing. You don't do anything. Just get another year. Get another year with your personnel under your belt. Continue to draft well. Maybe get another couple offensive line pieces because you traded for a bunch. So who knows if they're going to stick together or not. You re-signed a bunch, or you signed a bunch in the offseason. Maybe build up your offensive line a bit more. That way, Caleb Williams doesn't have to scramble. He could if he wants to, but doesn't have to. But this Bears team is in a good position moving forward.
I agree that they're in a really good position. I disagree that they shouldn't change anything, though. And the reason why is because, much like the Bills and the Texans and the 49ers, they rely too much on one side of the ball or on one player. The Bears rely too much on fourth quarter comebacks. The Bears have to stop putting themselves in position to have to come back every single time. They had 7 wins when trailing with 2 minutes or less this season. That is incredibly hard to do. And while it is very impressive that they were able to do that, I don't think they're going to be able to do that as many times next year. I said that about the Chiefs before this season, that if they wanted to make the playoffs again, they would have to play better overall football if they wanted to win this season. Because the season before, they got away with a lot of wins that they probably shouldn't have. There was a lot of skill involved. There was also a lot of luck involved. But this year, they didn't get as lucky. And so they missed the playoffs. I'm not saying that the Bears were all luck. There was a lot of skill involved in that as well. So what I'm saying is it is incredibly hard to come back that many times when trailing with under 2 minutes in one season. And if the Bears think that they're going to do that same thing again next year, I don't see it happening. Will they make some comebacks? Yes. Will they make 7 in one season? Probably not. They're just going to have to play better. And I think that they will, because they'll have another year in Ben Johnson's system with mostly the same players, and they'll get more used to it. They'll get their chemistry better. Like their chemistry, you could see throughout the year that their chemistry got better throughout the year, like specifically with Caleb Williams and Colson Loveland. With Caleb
Oh,
Williams and
yeah,
Colson Loveland,
absolutely.
their chemistry skyrocketed at the end of the year. So, like, if a full another offseason in Ben Johnson's system with these guys all together, I do see them getting better and playing better next season. But you cannot rely on winning 7 games when you're trailing in the last 2 minutes. You can't rely on that. And that's what the Bears did this season. And ultimately, it ended up costing them in the playoffs because they relied too much on their ability to come back late in games.
I will say I agree with what you guys are saying. As someone who is a fan of North Carolina basketball, and I am taking it there right now, that team has no ability to stop the bleeding. And so to see a team that has the grit to be able to claw their way back is really nice to see. And that could all just depend on your perspective on what, if someone has a fault, it's like, well, they've got this fault. And it's like, well, what about all these other things they do well? It's like, well, I'm focused on the fault. And I see that, and like Will said, they are ahead of schedule. They are ahead of schedule. Ben Johnson is scary. Caleb Williams clearly can do it. And these are all things that can be corrected. In fact, if anything, it gets to the point where it's like, dude, if the Bears are up on you in the fourth quarter, it's over. And I think that's a great
Yeah.
position to be, to not feel like, oh, we started playing not to lose. Now we're going to lose. To know that your team has that in it, like that pass was stupid. That was insane. That was, if that happened in Madden, like they would turn the game off. They'd be like, no, no. Why is my DB 5.5 yards away from the receiver? Like they're only going for the end. Anyway, I see it as this team is doing really, really well. I saw a video of Caleb Williams at a hockey game, a Blackhawks game, I think, or what is it? Blackhawks? Is that their hockey
Yeah.
team?
Yes.
And everyone was cheering for him. And I was like, I thought he just lost. And I'm like, well, made that really good catch. They lost the game. Bears have been trash for a while. They're not really trash now. They did lose that game, but to a team that could potentially win the Super Bowl. So it's like, hey, from where we were, feeling pretty good right now. So as far as I'm concerned, like that, I mean, hey, you gave Rams fans some heart attacks. I
Multiple.
feel like, I mean, Will couldn't get anything done that day. As far as I'm concerned, you guys are doing okay.
All right, well, let's move on to the conference championship games. We got to go over these with the time we got left because we're kind of running out here. So, Rams at Seahawks. So, in their first meeting, the Rams won the game by 2 points. And in their second meeting, the Seahawks won the game by 1 point in overtime. I expect this to be another very close game. I expect the Seattle defense will keep them in the game like they've done both times because Sam Darnold has thrown a total of 6 interceptions in those 2 games. In the first game, Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions and the Seahawks only lost by 2. And in the second game, he threw 2 interceptions and the Seahawks won by 1. While Matthew Stafford has thrown 5 interceptions in those 2 games, or 5 touchdowns, sorry. Matthew Stafford has thrown 5 touchdowns in those 2 games, 0 interceptions, and somehow they've only won by 2 and they lost by 1. So I expect this to be a very close game, just like the first 2 were. I also said that about Seahawks 49ers. That did not happen, but this time I mean it. I think this is going to be another very close game.
He goes next layer deeper than that. So, yes, and like you mentioned in those 2 games, the Rams have scored 58 points and the Seahawks have scored, 59 points.
Isn't it 56?
Yep, 56. No, it's one. Oh, that doesn't matter. Let's talk about the yards.
No, 57. Because they won by 1 point in one game and they lost by 2 in another game. So there's a 1 point differential.
57.
They're just numbers, guys. They're not real.
You're right. And the yards
Stats
totals
matter.
The yards totals for each team in those 2 games, the Rams have gained 830 yards, and the Seahawks in those 2 games have gained 829 yards. These 2 teams are incredibly evenly matched. As Joel mentioned, Darnold has thrown 14 picks on the year. 6 of them have been to the Rams in 5 quarters of football. And so that's huge. Okay, I think we are about to see the most classic football game that we've seen in a long time. real quick, I know we have like zero time. Real quick, do you know the total combined rushing totals for these two quarterbacks, Darnold and Stafford?
I know I have it memorized.
What is?
I have no idea.
Give me a guess. Just give me a guess.
But you just go ahead.
Give me a guess.
10 yards.
Ooh, it's more than that. It's more than that.
20.
Okay.
No. So Sam
I was gonna say
Darnold.
50.
Sam Darnold has 95 rushing yards in the season. Combined, they have 96. We are going to see. We are going to see drop back to pass, throw the football, hand the ball off, run the foot like this is going to be the most classic two tight end set game you could ever imagine. You'll see more tight ends in this game. I'll leave the inappropriate joke out of it. We're moving on. I think the biggest key to this game is the fact that in those two games, Rams Seahawks that we've already had, Zach Charbonnet had 20 carries for 69 yards and a touchdown, where Kenneth Walker had 27 carries for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. Finding someone to replace Zach Charbonnet to give Kenneth Walker a break to break these big runs is going to be the biggest drawback for the Seahawks. They're going to have to find someone to do it. Their current backup is Valius Jones Jr. He has not had more than 9 carries in an entire season. They've got somebody coming back from IR who might be able to play. I think this is going to come down to the run game and then the Rams defensive line getting to Sam Darnold better than they got to Caleb Williams, because neither quarterback is mobile. And it also comes down to the Rams offensive line protecting way better than they protected against the Bears. Matthew Stafford was under fire the entire game against the Bears. He was not able to sit back there and do anything. It was miserable to watch. This is grandpa, not quite Philip Rivers' grandpa, but grandpa trying to throw the ball over and over again. Although I do have to say, I like the Rams in this game. It'll be a close one. I think we've got I think it legitimately comes down to the same reason Ben Johnson didn't go for 2 at the end of the game there, is because the Rams goal line and short yardage defense have been very stout the entire game. I think Mike McDonald does go for 2, and the game ends 21-20, Rams win.
My head tells me Seahawks, but my heart for you, Will, tells me Rams.
I appreciate that.
All right, Avery, give us some thoughts on this game, and then why don't you just transition right into Patriots at Broncos?
Yeah, no, I agree with Will completely. This game is going to be fun to watch. I don't see a world where this is a boring game. There's really not a whole lot to say on this. I just think it will be very, very, very exciting. The other game, though, I don't know. I didn't realize I was like setting myself up there. Yeah, hey, I'll tell you what. At least this backup has a full week to prepare, rather than, Bo got hurt in the first quarter. He's just got to go in, hasn't, at all been prepared. So I would be curious to see, just because of how stout this Broncos defense is. Granted, Bo Nix isn't really much of a downfield passer. He's, even at Oregon, he's hitting these slants, he's hitting these short passes. I feel like that shouldn't be as difficult to replace. Not saying you can just replace Bo Nix. I'm just saying, hey, he's not throwing bombs, down the field to Randy Moss, Also, the Patriots, I still think the Patriots are going to win it all somehow. I'm not sure how they're going to be. I feel like the NFC has got this one in the bag, but something tells me the Patriots are going to pull it out. Anyway, just keeping it short and sweet there.
Yeah, just going based off of that with the backup. I've seen a lot of people comparing the Broncos quarterback situation to the 2017 Eagles with Nick Foles. Not the same thing. Not the same thing. There is a huge difference between those two situations. Jarrett Stidham has 4 career starts, and he's 1-3 in those starts. Before the 2017 season, Nick Foles had 36 starts, 37 if you count the playoffs. And in those 36 starts, he was 20-16. There is a huge difference in the experience between those two guys. It is not even close to the same thing. Jarrett Stidham has never thrown a postseason pass. He's also not thrown a regular season pass in 2 years. Not even close to the same thing. The only real hope I have for Jarrett Stidham is, like Avery mentioned, he's going against that Broncos defense every day in practice. That's really the only hope that I have for Jarrett Stidham in this game, is because he's going against that Broncos defense in practice, so it is going to prepare him very well to go against the Patriots defense. That's really the only hope that I have for him, though. The experience thing and comparing him to the 2017 Nick Foles with the Eagles, it's not even close to the same thing. But just because it's a backup quarterback, people are like, oh, it's the same. They're going to win the Super Bowl with their backup quarterback. It's not the same thing.
real quick, just want to interject. This is a little off topic, but going back to quarterbacks and winning, I think even though Sam Darnold has been, isn't, statistically the greatest quarterback, going from the Vikings and turning them into a really good looking team, and then going to the Seahawks and turning that around too. If we're going off of winning, I think Darnold needs a little bit more recognition, but that's a discussion for a different time. I just want to put that out there, put some respect on his name.
All right, Will, give us your final thoughts.
So in the postseason this year, Drake May is 33 of 56. That is a 58%, 58.9% completion percentage. His biggest tout for MVP is the fact that he had a 72% completion percentage in the regular season. This postseason, he is putting the ball in the ground a lot more and turning the ball over a lot more. On a percentage base, right? We have a smaller sample size, obviously, in postseason. This Broncos defense is incredibly stout. They are very good. We have not seen very good from the Patriots offense. In their game against the Chargers, it was 4 field goals, 3 field goals, and 1 very late touchdown. In the game against the Texans, everyone's talking about how bad CJ Stroud did. Drake May did not do very well either. He turned the ball over way more than he should. He only had 1 turnover, but I do believe there were multiple fumbles that he had against the Texans. And they won. They only scored 28 points, which is not a lot, but when the Broncos can have a 33-point fourth quarter, yes, different quarterback, sure. But Jared Stidham, this is his 3rd year in the Broncos organization. This is not like the Colts this year, who are running out to go call Phillip Rivers of, hey, we need somebody to come run this offense. You did it 5 years ago. Can you do it again? I think it is a vastly different thing. I also think this is very not Mike Vrabel-esque of them, but I think that the Patriots team, just like the rest of the world, is underestimating the Broncos. As Avery said, Bo Nix is not a down-the-field thrower. His longest pass of the season is only 52 yards, and I don't know how much of that is after the catch.
It's yards after, yeah.
Yeah. So we're not talking about a team who's trying to do the Drew Brees, throw the ball as far as we can until his arm falls off. We don't have Jacoby Brissett, who's throwing the ball halfway across the field just because we can. So we are a short passing team. J.K. Dobbins is back this week. So you've got J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey back there. I like the Broncos to win this game. I like the Broncos to win this game at home. I think they steal. I think they literally steal the win. This is a pick six in the fourth quarter to win the game. Broncos do it in Bronco fashion where pick six, they run the ball down and they end up beating the Patriots 24-21 or something like that. Probably more like 17-14 if we're being honest. Drake May has played sloppy in the postseason so far, and the Broncos feast on sloppy play.
I like it.
I don't think they score an offensive touchdown. I'll just throw that.
There we go.
Okay.
Sorry. I don't think the Broncos
I'm going to
score
put
an
that on
offensive
the internet.
touchdown. I think the Broncos score an offensive touchdown.
I was going to say, if that was about the Patriots, I'm going to put that on the internet. You're going to get absolutely roasted.
That's fine. I'm willing.
The Broncos don't score an offensive touchdown and beat the Patriots. Oh, I like that a lot.
Yep. Ramondre Stevenson's put the ball on the turf too many times. Drake May put the ball on the turf too many times. Watch for this Broncos defense to step up and win this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what we got time for on tonight's episode. We'll be back next week with kind of a similar outline. We're probably going to recap the games from the conference championship. We'll talk about the Super Bowl matchup, and we'll probably do something else in there too. I don't know what yet, but as always, don't forget to keep your balls played with. We'll see you next time.
Bye now, y'all. Also, Mark Davis' haircut still sucks.